I think on the global supply chains right now, the theme for Davos this year is connecting a fragmented world, and I think trade is actually the underpinnings of that. When we talk about equality or when we talk about globalization, what we're really talking about, when we talk about inequality, for instance, is that the wealth is not distributed equally, and I think a lot of that actually have to do with how we run and we operate global supply chains. As a tech company, this is something we've been working on for years to try to see if we can help and do better. Just 5-10 years ago, if you were a supplier in China or Africa or India and you wanted to participate in the global supply chain, you would have to go out and invest millions of dollars in software, money you didn't have. It'd be very hard and very complicated. Today, we lowered the barriers for that, and hopefully by doing that, are helping a lot more economies participate.
Do you worry that the trend is against you, just as you're opening up the world to some of these small players to bring about more diversity, more inclusion? You've got the world saying, well, we don't want so many trade agreements. NAFTA, for instance, in the United States and across with its northern and southern partners is in doubt. Are you concerned that we've reached peak globalization?
I think, look, globalization is a trend that's lasted 4,000 years. So I think even people now saying that they can impact it a whole lot, I don't think they understand the depth of this is integrated into our daily lives. I mean, US step out of TPP, well, TPP still get done just without the US. I think what America might discover is that while they're a very powerful nation with lots of big economy, the world will move on because the world will actually need trade agreements even more. So I don't really think there's any way of stopping globalization as a trend. Maybe you can momentarily slow it down or pause it, but not stop it.
One fear is that with the next wave of technology, artificial intelligence, big data, it's going to be the big companies that win out yet again, the big end of town. How can you correct this with the type of work that you're doing so that elements like blockchain, for instance, mean that small players do get in the mix? How is technology changing the cost of transactions, making it more viable for small businesses?
I think you can look at, I mean, technology is always both an equal, it creates an equal playing field, but at the same time, it also resets the playing field. So new players are gaining prominence. And I mean, before the world of Facebook and Google and all of these companies, there were other companies who were dominating. And I think exactly the same is happening in trade. And with AI and machine learning, we have a new era sort of coming in. And if you think about what we can do, well, we can automate a lot of workloads. Well, that means actually a lot of small companies can act and think and have access to resources that were just for large companies before. So those are some of the things we are trying to do. If you think about blockchain especially, I think this is really interesting because it decentralizes a lot of the infrastructure around trust. We used to always need middlemen. We needed a bank, we needed a stock exchange, we needed a real estate broker. Well, with blockchain, we can decentralize and distribute that trust. And I think that's a really, really exciting movement.
Let's talk about the business environment. We're starting out 2018 and we've got a US government shutdown. It feels as though business conditions might be changing yet again, just as optimism was coming through on the back of tax reforms. You're in America and you do business in America. How do you feel about this? Yeah,
I think it's very interesting, right? We have peak down and then we have a government shutdown at the same time. I don't know, you can look at it many different ways. The period that the Belgian economy worked the best was this 9 months it didn't have a government. So, well, without being funny, obviously it will have an impact. Our services, government services, you can't access, and I think that's real serious. I do think this is a little bit more political grandstanding and insider baseball than it is like a real economic impact. And I think you'll probably see this resolved within, I would say, 10 days, if not.
But if it's not resolved within 10 days?
If not, then, I mean, then there is a crisis. But I think for now, my bet would be it would be.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.